Good afternoon, everybody. And I would like to first of all thank Kunal for setting the context with respect to how ICT is being used in the school today, despite some of the challenges that we face. What I thought was, let me begin by giving you a macro picture, and I don't want to give too much gyan. We have all had lunch, so I'll keep myself very, very brief. There are about 1.3 million schools. There's been a 17% hike in the budget, which was released recently in March. The kind of funding which has just been given to school education is about 8.52 billion. It's quite a magnitude. For higher education, it's about 20%. If you recall the 11th plan, there were three basic elements which were focused on: access, equity, and inclusion. But the 12th plan specifically is focusing on what we call as quality. And quality implies, like sir had mentioned, how do you ensure that the concepts are reaching to the student? How do you ensure that they're understanding and synthesizing the information that they have? And that is going to happen typically through a channel, I would say a channel, which is using ICT. There are lots of challenges that we have. The list is there. You can read the majority of them. Unfortunately, in India, the focus has been specifically on, getting people to learn, mug up about whatever they have been taught in classes and pass that out during the exam period. It's what I call the aeroplane mode. And the aeroplane mode is where you have a pilot sitting in the front, the whole class sits behind. Here the teacher sitting in the front, and you have the whole class listening to the teacher, like you're listening to me. And Kunal put it rightly that the engagement methodology may be warped, may not be warped. It's dependent a lot on what the teacher actually wants to teach. But this was a good process which was used typically in the manufacturing sector. You have goods which come in, get produced, get shunted out. There's a quality mechanism in between which may be done. In the current scenario, I think things need to change from a blended perspective. How do you enable that to happen? And that's where ICT comes into play. What I call as the 5 C's: 21st century skills, critical thinking, creativity, communication, collaboration, and the 5th C is computing. But these need to go hand in hand with the 3 I's. Today morning, Professor Sinclair talked about a very critical element, which is integrity, the ethics. We're talking about moral values. How do you ensure that the people who are doing the documentation or who are setting project deadlines are sticking to all of that? The second I being inquisitiveness. Sir talked about, how the kids should actually be intrigued about how things are happening. And the third I is a culmination of that, which is innovation. And that is when the kids become actually innovative, when they start playing around with these aspects or these subjects that we may have. Assessments is something which we need to look at, and these need to be very, very innovative. You'll see some concepts which are going to be coming in the near future, and that's what blended learning is going to lead to. Flipped classrooms, where actually you have the teacher giving a topic prior to the day of the lecture. These students actually go back to their respective homes, learn about the subject, and in the classroom, they are just discussing it with their peers. So it's more of a collaborative process what they may do. MOOCs, I think all of you are pretty much aware of the massive online open courseware. The interesting part is what we call in the IT world is the PLE, the personalized learning experience. You will see that majority of a large number of corporates today are focusing their entire internal trainings based on the profile or the role of an individual. Same way this is going to get translated to the student depending on his capacity and capability to learn about new things. So there would be a segregated module which the student may do from a plethora of courses, but he may have some specializations which would assist him to become or get, at speed with the rest of the people. However, all this is going to happen when you have unlearned a large number of things what you have learned today. There's set processes, and I see it when I talk to my daughter and she says, no, this is the way our teacher has taught us, fractions can't be done this way. You have to do it in this methodology. You need to learn to unlearn to do a lot of new things. If you see today, and this is a simple graph, what you'll see is that if you compare education and technology, you'll see education, the speed at which education has been growing is slower in terms of technology. Everybody is aware of the Moore's law, where technology keeps on changing very, very fast. Approximately once in 14 years, a whole new generation changes. Now, how does that impact you? Typically, we are still somewhere in between. Where we have traditional classrooms, teacher is still there in the front. You have the 3 R's, the reading, writing, and the arithmetic, and teacher judges everything. On the other hand, what we are trying to look at is typically a 21st century classroom with some social skills. So the person is not only a graduate in his subject, but he's also adept at all these social skills. What we realize that if we have to redefine this entire learning paradigm, you need to change or assist the Indian education system. Just a small step by us, where we took 5 steps to figure out what we could do in the education space. First is, how do you empower teachers themselves? Because they are the people who are going to percolate it down to the students. So the first point was, can we run a program which would specifically train teachers on using technology in their day-to-day environment? If you can do that, that would help and assist them. Number 2 is, you need these teachers to be motivated. Once they have learned the technology, if they adopt it properly, can you recognize these people? The photograph that you see on the top is one of the teachers who was selected from India. She's a government school teacher who got recognized in about 167 countries for the ICT pedagogy that she's been using. The third aspect is, how do you create mentors of these people? Once you have trained these teachers, they are adept at it, can they go back and train their own peers? That is very, very critical. And the fourth aspect is, you need a platform to do that, because the teacher is not going to have everything at her beck and call. The teacher, he or she, would need a community to do that. And once you have a community, you can have all the collaboration that you require. We created a community in which we have almost about 4 million teachers collaborating with each other in different communities based on different subjects. Morning, the minister talked specifically about digital literacy. And that is something which I feel is very critical for India to become a knowledge economy. We run a small program which is available free of cost in multiple Indian languages called Saksharta. And the site is dsaksharta.in. Anybody can go in, go through a self-paced curriculum and get certified and become digitally literate. However, Dr. Ashwani talked about in the previous session that you need to have specializations. And these specializations would actually come in when you do courses which are more advanced in nature or can give you an edge over your peers. And that's where we talk about courses on the cloud, because it's very, very important that I can access this information anywhere, anytime, and at a place or a space which is convenient to me. So we have an IT Academy. All the websites are mentioned below. So I didn't want to talk too much, but some key takeaways which I feel. First of all, you cannot replace a teacher. Technology is just a multiplier to do your scale. You can run virtual classrooms, you can do e-learning methodology, but education still remains a one-on-one process. Number 2, you need quality. Irrespective of whatever you're doing, you need to have some concepts that are mentioned out there. And accessibility is something very important. We keep forgetting that there are people who need additional needs, who have special needs, and they need to be taken into context. So technology should enable that. Luckily for us, majority of the Office applications or the OS are all accessible in nature. The third thing is, what you'll realize is that teachers, once they get the technology, everything is driven around that. It should be vice versa. Technology is just an aid. What you're doing is the teacher would look at the technology, figure out what the materials are required, and go and have that discussion with the student, engage the student. However, saying all of that, you will see a lot of things, what Kunal also talked about, e-books, e-libraries, natural user interfaces, gaming, all is going to come into play. So I just wanted to end out there by saying that, the solutions don't lie in the technology, but they lie in what people do with the technology. Thank you.